Good morning, learners. I welcome you all in today's session, and the topic for today's discussion is new product development. This is for the students of BCom, MCom, and BBA retailing. And as usual, whenever we talk on a certain topic, we try to see the previous session discussions also quickly so that we can connect it with the current session. So in the previous session, we have discussed about product objectives, product mix, product line, dimensions of product mix, which is product width, depth, length, and consistency. What is product mix width? What is product mix depth, length, and consistency? Then we also discussed about product line strategies such as line filling, line stretching, line featuring, etc. And we talked of strategies of product mix also, such as expansion, contraction, positioning, differentiation, and new product. And we also talk about product diversification and the factors that influence the product mix. So as we have seen that when we are talking of product mix strategies, one of the strategy may be new product development, right? So considering this, today's topic of discussion is new product development, which is popularly termed as NPD. So in this session, we'll try and figure out the meaning of new product. What is the new product? Whether it is an entirely new product, whether it is some kind of invention, or maybe some modifications or improvements in the existing product. We'll also discuss about the reasons for launch of new product, why innovation is important when we are talking of new product. We'll discuss about the steps in new product development process. We'll also talk about various techniques for generating new product ideas and the factors that influence the new product development process. And then we'll talk of why the new product fails at times in the market. So reasons for failure of new product. So first of all, let us see what is a new product, right? So a new product, as I said, it may be entirely new product, it may be modification or improvement in the existing product, right? So new product may be improvement in existing product, it may be entirely new to the world, which is kind of inventions, and as we all know that it is rare. It is relatively rare in comparison to other, kind of new product development if we talk of. And then we can also say that additions to the existing line, whatever product line is existing with the company, when we are trying to make certain additions, that can also be termed as new product, such as when we do line filling. You are offering certain commodities and you are seeing a gap in particular line, in a product line, and you want to fill that gap so that you can cater to the other customer who is otherwise not coming to you. So maybe the line filling, to fill that line, if you're adding another product to your existing product line, that can also be termed as new product. As we have discussed in the previous session, that we can do line stretching also. And in line stretching, what do? We do upmarket stretch, adding highly priced commodities to the existing product range, down market search, adding low priced commodities to the existing range, and two-way stretch, maybe some commodities, some products, some varieties which are highly priced and some are low priced, right? So even additions to the existing line also is considered to be a new product. Or sometimes a company introduce a whole new product line which is new to the firm. It may not be new to the world, it is not an invention, but yes, for the firm it is new, right? So when a company introduces a new product line, which is also termed as product mix expansion, that product line can also be termed as new products. Likewise, as strategy, company also reposition its products. Why do it reposition? We'll see it later in the subsequent sessions. But for the time being, we have to understand that even when we are repositioning, or when we are making certain modifications in an existing product and we are repositioning in a market segment or maybe a new market segment, right, then also it is termed as a new product. And quite often it is seen that in existing commodities or existing products or services, whatever it is there, sometimes company does huge cost reduction. So they try to bring in innovation in cost. Right? By reducing cost, they are trying to have a new market segment. So even in that case, that product can be considered as new product. So this is very important. Like in order to understand new product development or what is a new product and how do we go about it, it is very important to understand what is innovation and what importance does it have in marketing. So innovation, as we all know, that it is a source of competitive long-term advantage. Market is dynamic in nature. It keeps on changing. The taste, preference, behavior of the consumers, customers, they change rapidly. To keep pace with that change, you need to adapt. And when I say you need to adapt, that means you have to bring in new, something new, some newness in your existing commodity or services, or in your existing offering, which can be termed as innovation. So bringing something new or bringing some newness in the existing thing. Maybe newness in the product, maybe newness in the process of the development of product, maybe newness in terms of cost. So it can be in any form, it can be in any shape. But innovation is very, very important if we want to keep pace with the changing environment of market. As it is, you can see here that it applies to the marketing process as a whole. It is not restricted to particular commodity. It is not restricted to the offerings of the company, but it is inbuilt in the marketing process. You may try to bring some kind of newness in the promotional campaign. You may try to change, you may try to bring some kind of innovation in the distribution channel. So there are various ways through which you can bring innovation in your company or in the marketing process. Innovation can be incremental innovation, disruptive innovation, architectural innovation, and radical innovation. We'll discuss sometime later. Now, we need to understand that for this kind of innovation, what is important to understand is that we have to identify the gaps which is available. So what are those kinds of gaps? So those gaps may be usage gap, distribution gap, product gap, and competitive gap. And along with all these things which we are going to discuss, there's one term which is very important. This is also called as blue ocean strategy. That means creating a new space rather than competing in the existing space. So that we'll discuss maybe sometime later. But let us now quickly see what are the various kinds of innovation, that is incremental, disruptive, what is architectural, and what is radical innovation. And then we'll see what are the different kinds of gap which we need to analyze in order to bring in innovation to the marketing process. So the first that we are going to discuss is incremental innovation. So what is incremental innovation? It is such innovation which every company does it at regular intervals sometimes and in some form or the other. So this is a very popular thing. It is so popular and it is so common in practice that sometimes some experts, they don't even consider it as innovation. And this is called as incremental innovation. Incremental innovation is nothing but a minor improvement to the existing products or services or the process or the methods. So it means when the company is trying to bring in a series of small investments just to keep the pace with the changing patterns or changing behavior, changing preferences of the customers. So this kind of innovation is called as incremental innovation. This focuses on improving an existing product's efficiency, productivity, and competitive differentiation. This innovation, it can be simple as adding some new features to the existing products. Say for example, the Colgate toothpaste. There are various kinds of Colgate toothpaste which is offered in the market, and the new addition to it was Ved Shakti. So simply by adding a some new features to the existing product, Colgate toothpaste is already existing, but just by adding certain new features, that means adding some Ayurvedic things to that toothpaste, you are trying to offer something to the market to fill the gap or to grab those customers who were going somewhere else in the name of Ayurvedic things. So this is also incremental innovation, and it is very simple. But incremental innovation can also be a little complex. Say for example, if you try to develop a new line, product line, or when you are developing a line extension, then it can be a little complex. You may have to work a little more on designing or thinking of the features that can be added in that particular new product. Since it is minor improvement, it does not have much impact on market dynamics. It is quite predictable and it is very safe in terms of risk, because whenever you're trying to offer some new products to the market, there is always a risk whether the market would be receptive for that particular product or not, or service or not. So it is risky business. Offering new product to the market is a risky business. But if you talk of incremental innovation or new product which is a form of incremental innovation, it is relatively safe. And as I've discussed earlier, incremental innovation is done by every organization in some way or the other. Then we'll talk of disruptive innovation. As the name suggests, disruptive. That means blowing away, whatever is existing. You are trying to blow it off, and you are trying to create a new market for your particular commodity or service. This term disruptive innovation, it was first introduced by Clayton Christensen in around 1995, and it refers to a concept, product or service that creates a new value network, either by disrupting an existing market, right, or maybe by disrupting a commodity which is an offering which is already there in the market. You are wiping it off and you are bringing in a new commodity. For instance, if you talk of maybe 2 decade back, HMT watches, it is a kind of history now. Thanks to the influence of social media, that you can still get HMT watches online, but the kind of popularity that HMT had in the past, you cannot see it right now. Various other competitors, they entered into the market and they took away the share of HMT. For instance, Titan. Titan is now more popular than HMT. Likewise, if you talked of mobile phone, maybe again 10 years back, not very late, 10 years back, Nokia was the leading company in terms of mobile phone. Now, what is the status of Nokia? It is a kind of history, right? And Samsung took over that, right? So this is disruptive innovation. You are trying to bring in something new, and you are bringing it in a way that the already existing products, they are gone, they are blown away. And it eventually disrupts an existing market and a value network, and it creates a new market and value network, right? It displaces established market leading firms, products and alliances, as we have seen. Like HMT was displaced, and it changes the customer's perception entirely. For instance, again, if we try to see it with some example, in terms of vegetable oil, Dalda, which was once a brand, which was once a synonym to this vegetable oil, is not the case today. There are several other competitors, there are several other brands who have pitched in, who have grabbed the market share from Dalda. So disruptive innovation means design its products or service to match the demand of the emerging market. So whatever changes are there in the market, you are analyzing it, and then you are trying to design a product or service which is matching that demand, right? And you can also reshape an existing product. So maybe you are reshaping your own product, not forget about competitors. You are reshaping your own product, and then you are offering it in the market as a new product. That is also called as disruptive innovation. Again, if you take an example of Kodak, right, which is less than 20 years, went from the 4th most valuable brand worldwide to bankruptcy. Why? Because digital photography came into the picture, and it ate all the business of Kodak. So market had been disrupted, and Kodak failed to adjust. So as a marketing expert, as a marketeer, you always need to think something new. You always should try to bring in some kind of innovation in your products and services. Now I'll talk of architecture innovation. Architectural innovation is described as the reconfiguration of existing product technologies and was introduced by Rebecca Henderson and Kim Clark in 1990. As the term suggests, architectural innovation, that means change in the architecture of the commodity. So whatever commodity is having, so what you are going to change the architecture. And when I say architecture, that means the core components of that particular commodity or service, they remain same, but the relationship between those components changes. Or maybe for instance, if we are talking of, say for example, a washing machine, right? So the technology which is used to manufacture a washing machine may be same, the core components are same, but by adding certain new technologies, by adding certain new features, you are trying to give a new kind of product to the market. This type of innovation entails the overall design, system, or the way components of the commodity interact with each other. The best example for this kind of innovation would be the desktop photocopiers, right? It is, the stand-alone photocopiers, they are, not used now, and desktop photocopiers, they have taken place. So we have got printers now, which can also take printouts, which can also photocopy for you, and so much so that we also have 3D printing technology now, right? So that would be termed as architectural innovation. And this is, said to be the king of all innovation strategies. Why? Because it is trying to give a new kind of product. Although the core components are same, but just by changing the relationship between those components and the way the components are interacting with each other, you're trying to provide a new product to the market. And this innovation is amazing at increasing new customers. As long as the market is receptive, believe me, this is the very important thing to understand, that whatever you are offering to the market, it has to be receptive. If it is not receptive, if the market is not receptive, you are going to fail as a product. Then comes radical innovation. Radical innovation is nothing but kind of invention, which is, as I said, relatively rare. So it involves harnessing new technology and a new business model simultaneously, and as such is very rare. So much so that only about 10% of innovations fall into this category. It stems from the creation of new knowledge and commercialization of completely novel ideas or products. It is an invention that destroys or replaces an existing business model and replace it with a new model, right? If you try to see an example of, radical innovation, you can see iPhone. Before the entry of iPhone, the phones which were using, they were kind of, they had keypads. You had to press the key, you had to press the buttons in order to function the phone, in order to do some kind of function on your phone. But the moment iPhone came into picture, just by sliding your screen, you could do all the functions. And this entry of iPhone, it paved the way for the modern, smartphone market. Now you see all the phones, majority of the phones are smartphones, which is used by the consumer. This radical innovation, it allows organizations to achieve competitive advantage in the market and challenge the dominant position of leader companies, right? Example, if you want to take Amazon Web Services, that is also kind of radical innovation. And then, as I said, iPhone. Likewise, if you talk of entertainment industry, Netflix and Hotstar, they can also be termed as radical innovation. Because now through Netflix and through Hotstar, what you are getting kind of multiplex at your homes, right? So this is all radical innovation. As I said, to bring in, if you really want to bring in some kind of innovation in your existing products or services, you have to do gap analysis. You have to understand what is there which is not existing, what is there which is already not there, and the need for that gap is felt by the customers. The gap is not enough. The need should be felt by the customers, and customers should be ready to fill that gap. They should be receptive. So this gap analysis we have to do if we want to bring in new innovation to the company, to the marketing process. So as we have discussed, there may be basically 4 kinds of gaps. Maybe usage gap, distributive gap, product gap, and competitive gap. So what is usage gap? When you use a particular commodity or service maybe, then while using, you as a customer, you may figure out something missing, or maybe even while offering the commodity to the market, and after a particular period of time, the marketer themselves, they try to see the usage gap which is there in the commodity. So by identifying that usage gap, and then you are trying to fulfill that gap with introducing something new to the existing commodity, and then comes distributive gap. Sometimes gaps in the channel of distribution. Say for instance, when for all the commodities, for the majority of the commodities, when companies, they were opting for indirect channel, that means through different distributive channels, Amway came into market by offering direct delivery to the customers. So that means distributive gap. Likewise, unless Dell came into market, all the computers, they were sold through some channels, but Dell was the first to start selling their its computers online directly to the customers. So it could identify the distributive gap. So even by analyzing that gap also, you may try to bring in some kind of innovation. And then product gap. the quality of product, the process of product, the look and appearance of product, when you are trying to see that, you may find certain gap. And after analyzing this kind of gap only, the market is there from tooth powder to toothpaste, if you see. Earlier, the tooth powders were there in the market, but now toothpaste, they have replaced it. Likewise, if you talk of paints, so from dried paint to maybe oil-based distemper, then velvet paint, plastic paints and whatnot. So by analyzing the product gap or what new quality or new features that can be added to the product also, you can get an idea to bring in some kind of innovation to your marketing process. And of course, the most important and not to be forgotten is competitive gap. Gaps in competitive products. Whatever products are offered by the competitors and are in the market, if you can try to analyze the gaps in those particular offerings, maybe that can give you an edge or that can give you a scope to add something new to the customers and grab that particular share of market. So that ways we see that by analyzing these kinds of gap, we can try to bring in some kind of innovation to the marketing process and create a new product or develop a new product which can be offered to the market, right? So, but as we have seen, as I said, that new product development is a whole lot of work. It is not a very simple thing and it is very risky business also. So it has to follow a systematic step-by process before coming into the picture or before coming into being. So what is the various steps, what are the various processes that are used while developing a new product? Let us discuss those processes. So the first step is idea generation. Second may be idea screening, then concept development and testing is done of the new products, then business analysis is done, whether that is profitable or viable or not, and then product development and testing, test marketing, and then the product is launched, or this step is also called as commercialization. Now let us discuss all these steps one by one. So what is idea generation? Idea generation, again, it is not restricted to a marketing, but it is across the board. And the new product approach starts with generation of idea only. Once you have analyzed the gap, now you start thinking of the ways through which that gap can be filled. So you try to have as much ideas as you can have as an expert. And the idea is related to what? It is related to matching a perceived need with the recognition of a technical opportunity. The need may be old, it may be new, it may be apparent or latent, that means it may be stated or unstated, any kind of need, right? Now we can see that there are various sources to get these kinds of idea. The first source may be the customer themselves. So by interacting to the customer, maybe the sales force that you have, the sales persons that you have in the company, when they interact with the customer, with the interaction, they get some ideas that what customer actually is lacking or what customer is needing, what customer wants. By analyzing, sometimes watching the competitors also, you can get an idea what all you can bring in to your company. And there are other company sources also, such as I said, salespersons, they give their feedbacks, announcement of new technical breakthrough by research and development department. And then brainstorming is also at times done by the companies just to get the flow of ideas. So, and other than these also, there may be several other sources through which the idea can be generated. And once the idea is generated, then you have there with the certain ideas. Now the step 2 involves screening of the idea. That means you have to critically evaluate the ideas that have been generated. And of those ideas, now you have to select the most promising idea that can fit for further probing. So when you want to screen your ideas, the generated ideas, then you need to analyze certain factors such as what is the market potential of that particular idea, whether it is profitable or not, whether it is workable or not, feasible or not, what is the likely sales volume, what production facilities are required, what kind of raw materials are required and whether they are available or not, or what is the availability, what is the cost of that, the availability of using existing technology, the plant and machinery which is required, the sales force and distribution channels, and financial resources, etc. So likewise, there are certain factors which you need to understand, which you need to analyze while screening the idea. And once you screen it, and then you can come up with a particular idea that the company can commit to the proposed project. Next stage is concept development and testing. So once the idea is generated, it is screened. Now the time is transformation of idea should be, transformed to a product concept. So this stage generally develops a fairly complete picture of the proposed company offering. It defines the specifications of target customers, the specific need proposed to be satisfied, the manner in which the need is to be satisfied, the benefit that the customers are going to derive from it, from this particular product, and the cost of such need satisfaction to the customer. And then the concept is exposed to the target customers so that the reactions can be seen for further evaluation. Then comes business analysis. And when I say business analysis, again, that means you need to work out its workability, its feasibility, and its profitability. So for that purpose, you have to prepare a DPR, which is detailed project report. You try to figure out everything, the likely sales volume, the demand forecast and everything. And then once you prepare it, then you have to appraise it, whether it is financially viable or not, technically feasible or not. And once the appraisal is giving you green signal, then you come to the next step, which is product development and testing. Now you translate the idea into a product. And in this stage, a prototype is developed, and this prototype is approximately close to the consumer product specifications. Whatever specifications that you have chalked out, it is approximately close. I am saying approximately close because unless it is offered in the market, unless it is received or welcomed by the customers, you cannot say that it is close or it is the same. And this product development testing, it helps in understanding if the company can master the needed technology. You have developed a prototype, now you are trying to see it through various angles. Now we do test marketing. So your prototype is ready, but as I said, it is very important to understand whether market is receptive or not. So you just imagine a situation when you are producing something, when you are producing a commodity in a bulk, and when you offer it to the market, it is not accepted. So everything is waste. You are in loss. So before actually going for the real offering, as a marketer, it is always wise to do test marketing. That means you have to reassure of the positive market response, that yes, market is going to respond to my product positively. So that is why it is defined as a research technique in which the product under study is placed on sale in one or more selected localities or areas, and its reception by consumer and trade is observed, recorded and analyzed. And this, with the help of test marketing, the marketer reassures himself about the sales volume also, that yes, we are going to have this kind of sales volume. And now the final stage is product launch or commercialization. So based on the response of test marketing, we as a marketer, the company, they try to make certain modifications if required, make some improvements if required, and then the strategies are made about the pricing, distribution and promotion. Now when all these strategies are formulated, now the product is ready for introduction in the larger market. As a part of marketing strategy, the company may decide to introduce the product in the entire market at the same time, or maybe introduce in a phased manner in different areas. So in a particular segment you are in a particular market, or maybe a part of market you are introducing it, and later in a phased manner you are trying to introduce it to the whole market. So why do we launch new product? As I said, the company, the marketing environment, the marketing itself is very dynamic, it keeps on changing. The supra system, the external environment where you are working as a company is changing very rapidly. So to keep up pace with that changing environment, we have to adapt. And adaptation means we have to make certain changes. That means we have to bring some kind of newness in the offerings that we are offering to the market. So as we can quickly see that the new product is launched, a new product is offered to the market, maybe to meet or block the competition, to fragment the market, to help in repositioning, to meet the need of existing customers, the changing needs of the existing customers, to meet the future need of the market, to increase the profitability, high growth markets, to help implement the strategy of the organization to take advantage of excess capacity or the new resources that you have recently acquired and now you want to make use of it, and then to offer new value to the customer and to cope up with the changing needs of the customer. So in a nutshell, we can say that again, in order to sustain in the market and in order to grow in the market, you have to introduce at regular intervals new product to the market and bring in innovation to your marketing process. Now, what are the factors that influence new product development process? Those factors may be internal factors, those factors may be external forces, right? External forces, when the external environment is forcing you, the competitors, the change in the consumer's needs, behavior, preferences, they are changing, so you have to change. And maybe sometimes, internal factors also motivate you to bring in certain changes. Maybe the kind of team, you have got a very, motivated and efficient team, and they are quite sure that they can have, more growth or maybe more profits by working in a new direction. So these kind of internal factors also affect the new product development process. Sometimes it is the culture and the structure of the company that motivates it to, go for new product development. For instance, 3M is a company, and Apple too, I would say. They are the kind of company that they have the culture that after a certain time, like in case of 3M, it is said that they believe in, introducing new product every 3 years. So this is the culture of the company. So this also influence the new product development process. Sometimes the culture of company may not be such, but the leadership of the company is such, the leaders are such that they want to introduce something new to the market, and then availability of effective team. So these are the factors that influence, new product development process. Now, the important thing is why, as you said, most of the times the new products that is being introduced in the market, they fail. So why do they fail? As a marketer, as an expert, it is very important to understand the reasons for failure so that you can take care of all those reasons and you can assure that your product, that your new product is not going to fail in the market, right? So the problems may be related to the 4 Ps, that is product problems, distribution and channel problems, promotion problems, pricing problems. Or maybe it is timing problem or competitive problem. Say for instance, when you say, product problems, let us take product problems. That means maybe there is some, problems in the product itself, the offering itself, that it is not welcomed by the customers. Like for instance, I am going to quote Tata Nano. Although Tata, I have much respect for, that business group. They are the pioneers of social responsibility, social corporate responsibility in India, and undoubtedly one of the, best companies in India, I would say. But their product, however good, I am trying to tell you, you may be a big giant, you may be a wonderful, company, but maybe there are certain, if there are certain problems in your product may fail. Like in case of Tata Nano, what happened? With the problem in the product, it failed. Tata tried to, give something to the market which is less in cost, so that even the persons who were using motorbikes or maybe mopeds, they can afford it. So for the sake of doing that, they introduced Tata Nano. But when it was introduced in the market, when it was offered to the market, people, perceived that maybe it is compromising in terms of safety. So it could not get the expected response from the customers. Then maybe the distribution and channel problems. Maybe the problem is not with the product. Maybe your product is very good, but there are certain, maybe the distribution channels which you are using, they are not promoting it, properly, or they are not giving it in time. So once Parle-G, they introduced hamburger to the market, and in the distribution it took time, so it became soggy. So customers did not like it. So maybe this kind of problems also, maybe the reasons why your product may fail. And then promotional problems. The promotional campaigns that you have used, or maybe the media that you have used, is not proper, is not fit to promote that particular product or service that you want to offer to the market. And then pricing problems. Maybe the price of the commodity is either too high, which customers in general cannot afford, or maybe they are perceived to be high in comparison to the benefits that they are giving to the customers. And then timing problems. You may introduce your product maybe too soon or too late. If it is too soon, the customers could not even understand the benefits of that particular product, and you have introduced it to the market, they may fail. Again, if it is too late, you tried, you analyzed, and then in the process of developing the new product, you took so much of time, and by the time you offered that commodity to the market, it was too late, and the space was grabbed by the competitors. So maybe this can be also a reason why your product can fail. And then competitive problems. Maybe the competitors, they may give you such tough competition that it may be difficult for you to survive as a new product in the market. So let us quickly sum up what we have discussed today. To understand new product development, it is important to understand innovation, because without innovation you cannot bringing some newness. You cannot bringing new product in the market. New product has various categories, and there is a need to understand, analyze gap in the market. Aiming at new product development following a sequence of steps is important. You have to carefully follow all the steps, from idea generation to screening to concept development to business analysis, then test marketing, and then launch of product. And then there are certain factors also, which may cause the failure of your new product development. So you need to understand, analyze those factors so that you can be sure that your new product is not going to be failed. So with this, I'm ending this discussion. Happy learning.